Hello everyone. This is the 32nd part of the story, Pērcy Jackson, the God of Magic. Chapter 156. Hera Point of View. Adam was strong, very strong, but so was Zeus, and Adam had only just begun to see why Zeus had ruled for so long unopposed. The main characteristic of Zeus, what made him unstoppable was that he had an invincible body, stacked with unlimited power, unique to his being. That he withstood Adam's powerful attacks had made it clear. Through the smoke, it could be perceived that Zeus was still alive and that his power was not waning, on the contrary, he had just begun to show his true power. Adam must have known exactly that, how could he not? And if so, why was he attacking like a madman if he knew Zeus was holding back? In the end, it didn't matter. Adam was about to see why Zeus was unstoppable, powerful or not. Adam was dead. Zeus was unmatched, after all. "Come on, Zeus, show me why you've been the king of Olympus for all this time," shouted Adam, gently wiping his mouth of the blood that Zeus' last attack had drawn from him. "Insolent insect," Zeus snarled, raising his power even higher, which made Adam smile. "I don't have all day, so hurry up," Adam quipped, and Zeus clenched his fists in anger, every word that came out of Adam, enraging him. And as his rage increased, so did his strength. With a strong flash from Zeus, the sky shook violently. For the humans, the end of the world had come in the form of a natural catastrophe. For the gods, the combat between these two colossuses had just begun. As his power increased, Zeus looked at Adam and, shouting louder than ever, he showed his determination to defeat him and prove he reigned supreme. "I am the king of all. And you will die before me." At this terrifying display of power, an electric aura appeared around Zeus. Even greater than before, his power reaching the skies, surpassing Adam by far. But still, Adam didn't seem to be agitated. In fact, he seemed to be happy. Did he want to die? I wondered. "Come on, show me your full power, I know you're holding back," Zeus bellowed, clenching his fists in excitement. As much as Zeus hated Adam, Zeus loved the challenge that combat brought him, and Adam was a challenge. "Make me," Adam grinned, baiting Zeus with the wave of his hand. In anger, Zeus lunged at Adam at great speed, and Adam, who was flying above Zeus, was surprised by the sudden increase in speed acquired by Zeus, and not having time to react, could not dodge the blow, and Zeus gave him a hook that distorted his vision for 2 seconds, in which Zeus continued to hit him rampantly to who had dared to insult him, the king of Olympus. Zeus attacked with both fists and feet, as well as elbows, knees, and even used his head to strike again and again at Adam, who, for once, found himself at a massive disadvantage. Several emotions ran through Adam, but fear was not one of them, which made me doubt that Adam was showing his full power. What else was the young god hiding? I didn't know, but I had a feeling he would soon show it. Zeus continued his assault, until he finally stopped his succession of blows that would have killed most of gods, ending with powerful lightning that blasted Adam, illuminating the entire sky. Dragged by the force, Adam fell at such a speed that there was no sound around him, generating an earthquake on his landing that was felt by everyone. A cloud of dust rose up from the huge hole created by the event. Zeus smiled, looking at the dust cloud, which grew in size, mimicking an atomic explosion but 1,000 times larger. "This will be easy," the thunder god declared confidently. "This is the Zeus we have all feared for centuries," I said, more to myself, at a loss for words as the king of the heavens continued to laugh non-stop. The ground of the earth shook again, and where the hole had formed due to Adam's impact, Adam leapt into the air, surrounded by a dark, almost evil aura, and with great speed, he flew until he came face to face with Zeus, who had finally stopped laughing, looking at the young god with surprise. Probably wondering, how had Adam withstood his assault, with almost no lasting damage? Okay, you've earned me fighting for real, Adam said with a grin, raising his power even higher. His aura took on a more violent aspect, covering himself with an evil shadow that terrified me to no end. His body began to change, and little by little the young god transformed his entire being into one of shadows. In the process, the whole area was covered in absolute darkness, and when it vanished there he stood, the young god, the new Adam, a shadow in armor, right there, smiling, with his fists clenched, ready to face Zeus once again, who seemed to be impressed. Adam had apparently accessed the power he had inherited from his father, leaving Zeus in shock. Now both gods were evenly matched in power, which left the outcome of this fight in the dark. Zeus, who had regained his composure, lunged again at his enemy, angry and happy to see that he still had the power to face him. Zeus with a smile raised his arms, charging them with electric energy. Adam stared at him and said 2 words before avoiding the attack, "My turn." Adam, who had dodged Zeus' attack with relative ease, lunged at Zeus and delivered a kick to his face, which knocked him off balance. Adam took the opportunity to cast a spell from the School of Dark Arts on Zeus' stomach, which was unprotected by his opponent, and then proceeded with a snap of his fingers to summon a celestial laser that came down from the heavens, striking Zeus in the back, causing him to kneel in pain for a brief second. Zeus, who could not accept that Adam had made him kneel, screamed in anger, unleashing a great surge of power, which effectively stopped Adam in his tracks. With great speed, Zeus rushed at Adam as his hands quickly wrapped around his opponent's head, locking him in place. With a cruel grin, Zeus then proceeded to slam his forehead into Adam's, with such force that to all mortals, it was nothing but the sound of a thunder cracking in the distance. The blow was indeed very violent, but for Zeus it was not enough. He wanted to make Adam pay for his insolence, for his hubris. After all, no one made the king of the heavens kneel and live to tell the tale. Chapter 157. Hera Point of View. Adam, who had been receiving Zeus' attacks non-stop for a while, teleported behind him, hitting him in the back of the head, with such force that Zeus had no choice but to crash to the ground at great speed. But this did not end there. While Zeus got up, Adam appeared in front of him, throwing another blow to the god of thunder. This one connected with Zeus' jaw, disorienting the king of the heavens for a couple of seconds. Adam took advantage of these seconds, launching attacks one after another, each more powerful than the last, before Zeus recovered, and began to counterattack with great power, and for several minutes both gods stayed in the same place, launching bursts of powerful attacks, both connecting with their desired target. Void Buster. Adam shouted, taking some distance between him and Zeus, launching a surge of power towards Zeus, but Zeus was completely unaffected by the attack. Angry, Zeus launched himself against Adam with his whole body. Adam, although powerful, still did not reach the same level as Zeus. This I knew, for Zeus had still to demonstrate his maximum and absolute power, the one he had used to kill his own father. Shit, Adam said, barely dodging the thunder god, whose power was growing more and more. I must admit, you're strong, kid, Zeus said, his tone a little friendlier than expected. Your power is incredible for someone your age, but, if that's all you've got, you'll die in a couple of minutes. That is, if I'm merciful, declared the king of the heavens, who although angry at Adam, was absolutely confident in his victory. That's what your son said, Adam laughed, pointing his outstretched right hand at Zeus, creating an intense ball of energy coming from the outer cosmos itself, and with a shout, he launched the attack, an attack which appeared to be weak in appearance, but came with extraordinary power, packing quite a punch, which made Zeus scream in pain upon impact. When was the last time Zeus had suffered such damage? I wondered. I really did not remember. It was almost an impossibility, something that did not make any sense. And yet here he was, Zeus bleeding and screaming in pain, before the strength of a god, infinitely younger than him. How about that attack? Adam asked Zeus with a mocking smile, who who laid on the ground bleeding like never before, engulfed in a cloud of smoke and residual energy that burned Zeus's skin. "Bastard," Zeus said, his tone somewhat low. Many would mistake this for Zeus accepting his defeat, but this was not true, not at all. Zeus was simply accepting the fact that to kill Adam he would have to demonstrate his full power. "I will show you why. I am feared." At this Zeus began to scream, his power increasing without sign of stopping. Adam's death had come. Of this there was no doubt. The young god had bitten off more than he could handle, and now he would suffer the ultimate fate at the hands of Zeus. And even with this imminent fate, Adam didn't seem overly concerned. In fact, he simply looked at Zeus with a blank expression. "Impressive," Adam muttered, his body covered in wounds that bleed black blood, his armor shattered, and his power below Zeus. But for some reason the young god smiled. "I must admit, you are stronger than I expected," Adam admitted, "but, unfortunately for you, I have been gifted with a power beyond your level, by my hated father. Outer god or not, you are no match for me," Zeus declared, his power increasing relentlessly. Adam smiled. "Since I resolved an internal conflict with myself, I understood the nature of my power and the reason for my existence in this world. That is why I can now access the form my father originally intended for me." As he said this, Adam spread his arms, releasing a great amount of power, and as his aura increased immeasurably fast, his body changed more and more, morphing him into a monster, his mouth closing as if someone was sewing it shut, one stitch at a time, his arms lengthening and breaking, forming multiple tentacles made mostly of shadows, his eyes becoming almost animalistic, and his power reaching highs I thought impossible. Now I understood. Before this, Adam was incomplete. Now, the young god had accepted his origins, and had completed his transformation into an outer god. Adam, now fully transformed, had increased his power 20-fold. I couldn't believe it. He was even stronger than Zeus, by a lot. His power eclipsed the thunder god. This was unbelievable. But even then, Zeus refused to believe this, glared at Adam, who was now showing his enormously phenomenal strength. "I won't be defeated by a child," Zeus roared, teleporting high into the skies, charging his greatest attack ever. But even then, I didn't see an outcome where he would overpower Adam on his outer form. Adam, who now looked more like a monster than the young god who I was thought was an easy prey, moved. Moving his tentacles around the area, pointing at Zeus, he created two huge balls of outer energy that coalesced into a single giant ball of energy. He then proceeded to increase the power in the attack, and with a beastly growl, Adam shot the attack with such speed, Zeus had no time to react. Zeus, seeing the attack a few inches from him, stopped short in surprise, and for the first time since his birth, Zeus felt true terror, the fear of fighting someone much, much powerful than him. He could feel Adam's colossal energy coming at him full speed, and while his brain was able to see and process this, his body was coming short. There was no way to escape, the distance was too small and the attack was traveling too quickly. In short, Zeus was facing death. As the attack clashed with Zeus, he screamed in pain, as the giant mass of dark outer energy now holding him prisoner pushed him out of the earth with great speed and power, making him travel deep into space with no stop. The attack eventually started to consume the old god along its path, turning his body into dust, ensuring his death was one of no return. And as the attack pushed Zeus farther and farther away from the earth, consuming his essence little by little, I could hear Zeus screaming, filling the cosmos with his agony. "Aad, da. Am." Zeus cried, and soon after, his entire presence was erased from the face of the cosmos. The king of heavens was no more. Adam had won. I'm impossible," I muttered, fear creeping up my spine. This power, I hadn't felt such power ever. I had to run. If Zeus stood no chance, I wouldn't either. Taking the decision to run to live another day, I turned around with the intention to escape. only to see Adam on his outer form staring at me, paralyzing me with fear. Chapter 158. I had won, killing Zeus and Hera, destroying once and for all the threat they represented, but at what cost? Using my power had accelerated the awakening of what I wanted to evade. I didn't know when, but I knew that soon I would no longer be in control. At most I had a month, and that was if I was lucky. You won, Odin, who had teleported to what was left of Olympus a couple of minutes ago, said, catching my attention. Yes, I said, looking in awe at the destruction my fight with Zeus had left. According to Odin, millions of humans had died because of the natural catastrophe we had generated during the fight. Hestia is quite upset, Odin added, looking at Hera's half-eaten corpse. I can imagine. After all, I hadn't told her any of this. Hades and the other gods of the underworld are going to resurrect much of the population that was destroyed. I'll help them, then we'll make all mankind forget what happened. Odin said with a small smile, it's not the first time we do this, and maybe it won't be the last time. Okay, I chuckled, I'll go see Hestia. I owe her an explanation. Sounds like a good idea, Odin agreed with a nod. You should tell her about that too, the old god added, and it didn't take any further details to know what he meant. That I will, I owe her that much. Asgard. With nothing else to do, I teleported to Asgard, where Hestia was waiting for me with her arms folded and a firm look on her face. She was not happy at all with what I had done, going to fight Zeus without telling her. Adam, I'm really upset. Hestia declared, her cheeks red. First you almost died, then you almost died again, and now, you do something crazy again. I understand your concern, but I had to do it. I replied, looking into her eyes, trying to get the words to tell her that my days were numbered. You have an army, friends, people who would die for you. Why did you go to fight alone? Why did you have to do everything alone? You are not alone. Hestia declared through her tears hurting me more than Zeus and any of his attacks. Why? Why do you insist on doing everything alone? I softly moved my hand to her face, gently wiping away her tears. She didn't deserve to cry, not for me, not for anyone. Pride? Stubbornness, stupidity. I really don't know, but this time I did it because I didn't know if I would have another chance to eliminate Zeus and the threat he represented. What do you mean? Hestia muttered, grabbing my hand, pressing it softly to her face. Adam. Is there something you haven't told me? Yes, it's something recent. Lying to her would only save her from pain momentarily. I think I'm going to die soon. What? Hestia asked, her eyes pleading for this to be a lie. The part of me that I inherited from my father is stronger than I am, and when that part awakens it will consume me and then it will consume this world. I replied, I have seen how powerful that power is. I used a part of it to destroy Zeus. And I know for a fact that no one will be able to stop me when I am consumed, so, before that happens, I will die. I know. Hestia cried in tears, I refuse to let you die. Hestia. I love you, and there is nothing more I desire than to be free with you, free to enjoy this world, but I will not risk you. My father is very powerful, and it is best to prevent him from achieving his goal. I embraced her, kissing her head gently. You are the new Greek king, you must. Hestia said, trying to come up with a solution. No, being king was never my goal. I'm not exactly worthy of that title. You, on the other hand, deserve to rule. You who has never strayed from the path of goodness. Hestia was the only goddess worthy of such a title. Zeus should never have ruled. Hestia was always the best choice. She was always the only choice. Me? Hestia asked in disbelief. Of course, I smiled, hugging her once again. Don't worry about anything, you were born for this. Nyarlathotep point of view. Adam had done it, he had finally defeated Zeus, the main objective of his goal. And now that I had allowed his plans to be completed, it was time to push mine forward. I had, after all, allowed him to be on the human realm for long enough, but playtime was over. He had a duty to fulfill, one that he would do, whether he liked it or not. The preparations were ready, the altar to open the gate out of Azathoth was complete, all there was left to do was Adam. With his outwardly connection to all the realms, and my power, he would break the barrier between the dimensions, letting the outer gods claim their rightful place in the universe, destroying everything and everyone. I could almost taste the cries of agony and despair every single living being would sing for me. A true melody that would soothe me for eons to come. What a delightful future, and all I have to do is bring Adam here and force his transformation, erasing the human part he so hard has clung to, an easy task. He already was at the edge of his transformation, I could feel it, and if his form against Zeus was anything to go by, all that was keeping him in place was pure and sheer will, and if there is something fragile in a human mind, is their will. They always break like bones under my jaws, fragile little thing, that always amounts to nothing. Soon, you will see the outer in you. I won't even have to kill Hestia, you will do it yourself, and what a sight that would be, Adam killing his own soulmate, truly a sight to behold. Chapter 159. Days have passed since I killed Zeus and Hera, and a lot of things have changed. For one, after crowning Hestia with the help of Demeter, Hades, and Persephone, we made sure no one would aim their fangs at her. So in hopes to keep all the greedy gods in line, we made some alliances public, with the help of Odin and Sun Wukong. The triad of pantheons was born. 3 pantheons, from different cultures that would help each other in times of need. This also meant, if anyone wanted to hurt Hestia, they would have to go through Odin and Sun Wukong, which was a hard no, considering Zeus was the only one able to match them, at least in the Greek pantheon. As for the other changes, well, during the transmission of power, I discovered who had been plotting against me by kidnapping Penny-Beth, one of the minor gods in the realm of love, and Aphrodite. Needless to say, I killed them both, mercilessly, and now Hebe was the goddess of love, at least until Hestia found a better replacement. As for my situation, I haven't found any escapes. I can feel day by day, as if something is pulling me into a deep pit. Is a weird feeling, one that I fear, but I guess I lived a good life. I fell in love, I lived a life of adventure. I did more than most in a lifetime, so I can't really complain. I mean, I could, but seeing as that hasn't solved any of the problems in my life, I think I will not. As for old time clock god, well, there are no signs of him, but even if he does come back to life, he will have to face the triad, which I doubt he has the power to overcome. So, I am a queen now, Hestia sighed, entering my room unannounced. Look at her flexing that queen power. I never thought this would be a thing. I mean, I never, you know. I know, I nodded, but I know you will do great. With you in power, things will change for the better, I assured her, patting her on the head. Of all the forms she would normally used, she was now sporting her mature look, looking like a woman on her prime. I think the Hestia that didn't want to be noticed disappeared when all of this began. Adam. I love you, Hestia declared. Just like that. God, she will kill me faster than my curse. It took me a while to wrap my head around that. Love out of familiar love was always a big no for me, but, well, here I am. I love you too, I muttered, approaching her. Her face was so close to mine that I could smell the sweet fragrance of her natural perfume. I could feel my heart beat faster and faster as Hestia looked at me with trepidation. Was this torture? To do this knowing I will die? To taste her lips knowing that soon darkness would welcome me? If it wasn't torture for me, would it be for her? Maybe, but in all honesty, I didn't care. Taking a step forward, I bent down, my lips against her cheek, brushing it lightly, afraid to break something, and still that light touch sent visibly shivers through her, shivers that made her whole body tremble in trepidation. "If you want me to stop, I will, just tell me," I whispered. But Hestia said nothing. She stood there looking at me, her eyes locked into mine, as I brushed my mouth against hers. "I don't want to fork." Tired of waiting, Hestia had reached up and pulled me down to her, crashing her lips into mine, and the rest of my words were lost, the rest of my world was lost. For what, it felt like hours, I kissed her gently, carefully, her warmth overwhelming my senses, until we broke from our sweet embrace. "So, that's how it feels to kiss the man you love," Hestia smiled, blushing under my gaze. Finally. Honey, who was apparently hiding in my closet, jumped out. "Odin owes me $2 million. I will ignore that," Hestia chuckled. "I love you, Adam, now and always." Me, this feeling, this creeping feeling of despair. "Leave the room and teleport to Asgard now," I said with a tone that left no room for arguments. Hestia and Honey exchanged a look of worry, before nodding and doing as I told them to do. "Kissing, that's all you managed to get after so long. I must say, I am rather disappointed," like humans say. "Your game is weak." There was no doubt. My father, Nyarlathotep, had come earlier than I expected, but here he was. "Why are you here? As you can see, I am in control, still." I glared at the monster in human guise, with such hate I could taste it. If only I was stronger than him. Alas, I was not. Yes, yes. I can see that, unfortunately, but for how long? How long do you think you can keep your humanity intact? Nyarlathotep chuckled, his arms turning into tentacles that wrapped around me faster than I could see. "A week? A month? Or maybe a day? Which one of those options inconveniences you the most?" I snarled, struggling it against his bindings. "Of all my children, you are indeed the most fun." Nyarlathotep clicked, his mouth humming. "I suppose you can still fight me, or you can see your sweet little Hestia die." At this, Hestia appeared in front of me, bound to a shadow that kept her in place. "So, what will you do? Struggle against your destiny? Or will you save her, dear son?" "Don't!" Hestia shouted, "Don't give him what he wants." "That's the thing, little Rose." Nyarlathotep smiled, pulling her close to him. "I always get what I want, one way or another. I kill you, he loses control. He saves you, he loses control. See? Win-win scenario for me. I will do what you want, but not here." I don't want to hurt her. I had no idea how I would escape from this, but one way or another, I would stop him. "Fair enough." Nyarlathotep smiled, releasing Hestia from her bindings. "Au revoir," and with that, he pulled me into a portal, leaving a broken Hestia behind, calling my name. Chapter 160. Nyarlathotep pulled me into the portal, dropping me into a world of darkness where there was nothing to be seen, nothing to be heard, and nothing to be felt. But even then, I couldn't help but sense something was off, that something didn't fit the scenario. Now, allow me to explain the rules of the game, that while I know you are familiar to them, I as a good host will remind you of them. Nyarlathotep chuckled, his voice seemingly coming from every direction in the realm. "You want out of this place. You need to destroy it, and unlike last time, it won't be that easy. This time, you will have to let it all out." So that was his game, to cage me in a world of darkness until I caved in. This showed me two things. For one, he never believed me when I said I would do what he wanted in exchange for Hestia's safety. And two, he wants to see me suffer. Dad of the year here. Now, have fun. I'll be waiting, and please, do hurry. I don't want to get bored. Then again, if I do get bored, I can always visit Hestia. He laughed, knowing very well he was poking me where it hurt. "Oh, I forgot to tell you, this place is like Tartarus without the time thingy." And worse, you will feel pain here like never before. Enjoy. Agony, excruciating pain, was all I felt inside this realm of darkness. Every second, I could feel my eyes boiling from the inside out, as every organ within my body suffered from a different ailment. My lungs melting and regenerating over and over again, my bones breaking under pressure, my heart freezing. This place was a nightmare. Was there any point to this? No, there wasn't. Nyarlathotep knew I would eventually turn into the monster he wanted me to be without this torture. He simply chose to make me suffer for the sake of it. I wanted to kill him so bad, but I was weak. Even with my outer power, I knew I would fall short to reach him. He was out of my league, making me feel useless, pathetic. How was one supposed to stop such being? And to add salt to the injury, I was on the verge of losing myself, at the verge of dying, at least this version of Adam, the one that likes normal stuff not related to suffering and shit. I guess Friedrich Nietzsche was right, perhaps all of this was meant to happen one way or another. After all, he who fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster himself. For if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. But, even at the inevitability of the situation, I didn't want to be a monster. I didn't want to hurt Hestia. I didn't want to become a puppet of his show. I didn't want any of this. How can a man willingly accept such a fate? The fate of destroying the world, an entire reality. Perhaps everything would be better if I just allowed myself to become the monster he so much desired. I had nothing to lose. I was fighting a losing battle. This destiny was unavoidable. I could feel the outer within me taking over as time passed. It was a matter of time before I became what he wanted. So why fight it? Why fight? What in the fuck am I thinking? Of course there is a reason to fight, no matter how hopeless the situation looks, and if defeat is unavoidable, at least find a way to kill yourself. Why fight? What am I even saying? You know there is no point. Darkness awaits us. He won't let us die. He won't let us leave. We are to be trapped until we accept our destiny. Yeah. What is the... Oh, for the love of... What in the fuck is going on with me? Why am I going from normal to emo in the 2000s? You have to accept me. I'm a part of you. Why fight what cannot be avoided? There is no point in fighting the inevitable. I will go out and assume that voice within my head is the reason I was going full emo a few moments ago with my thoughts. Which reminds me, what happened to the pain I was feeling a few moments ago? I could have sworn this place was like Tartarus but on steroids. It no longer affects you. Look, inside my mind, an image of what appeared to be a massive monster appeared. It was so big it would easily tower the Empire State 10 times over. That is us. The only thing that has yet to give in is your mind. I guess that explains why I haven't felt any pain for the last few minutes, but regardless of that, how was I to fix all this? The bastard had managed to turn me into a monster in less than a day. Accept your destiny. Stop holding us back. Desperation, that was the feeling I was feeling, total and utter desperation. How long would I be able to keep control? How long before? It doesn't matter in the end, does it? I never had an option to begin with. Very well then, it's not like I have an option anyways, but if I have to be a monster so be it, but like always, I will disappoint. What can I say? I'm a problematic child, Dad. Nyarlathotep point of view. Adam had turned, but something was off. His gaze was not all too different. His form, yes, it changed, looking like a shadowy version of me, but his eyes showed a hint of the old Adam, the one that should have died during the transformation. He merged with his outer part, instead of letting it take over. Remarkable. I laughed. The idea was absolutely delightful. What he had done in an attempt to rebel against me was infinitely more cruel than any fate I had in mind for him, because he now was Adam but a version of him that couldn't comprehend anything he used to. unless it was destruction. With his last effort he had become something so much worse than I intended, and it was all his doing. He was the key to his own outdoing. In an attempt to preserve his sense of self, he had now become a spiteful and maniacal being with a physical and mental inability to care for others. As a soulless being, unable to feel or understand compassion, love, or any positive emotions towards others. Truly remarkable. This marks the end of part 32 of the story Pērcy Jackson, the God of Magic. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.